Roman Reigns returns on SmackDown, but how should this Bloodline story play out?
A Bash at Berlin, Cody Rhodes gives his world title shot to Kevin Owens.
It's time to roar around the ring. All right, at SummerSlam, we saw the return of Roman Reigns. Shout out to the return of the graphic that says Roman Reigns returns.
Yeah.
Because that's just a copy and paste. Swap out the picture of Roman, and we're good to go. Because they've reused it about 25 to 30 times.
That's why you got to have these things ready to go at all times.
You never know. You never know when it's needed.
Happen, yeah.
And it was needed this week. Roman Reigns back on SmackDown, still, no pun intended, solo, all by himself.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, kind of like SummerSlam, but a little more in depth. No words, right? No promo. Didn't show up till the end of the show. Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline calling him out. And Roman Reigns just lays all three of them out. Solo got out a little early. Solo watching from the top of the ramp as Roman Reigns takes out Tongaloa. Poor Tongaloa. That dude is taking a beating on social media.
Even with Jacob Fatu injured, Tongaloa is still the least needed member of the Bloodline.
So we got this, dude.
We got it, man. We'll wheelchair him out.
We'll figure it out.
He'll do more than you do.
Jacob, can we get you, please?
Hobble down here, please.
Dude can't even hold a tag title correctly.
Poor guy.
He's doing great.
I'm sure he's a good dude.
He is. He is. He's getting by.
Yeah.
Right? So Roman Reigns lays out Tongaloa. How do you feel about the way Roman has returned? Again, no promos, no help thus far, just
no Paul
laying
Heyman.
out. No Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Just laying out the Bloodline.
I really like it a lot. I think that it's been simple and effective because this is all he needs to do. The interesting thing is that, at least as of now, for his initial return at SummerSlam and then what we saw on SmackDown, it's zero to do with the title.
Yes.
Like the WWE Undisputed title. It's more about somebody basically usurping his throne in Solo and just defending that. And I think that's really, like, it kind of makes it even more intriguing.
Right.
Because there's these other shoes are going to fall. There's other factors in play eventually. But so far, at least just early going here, it's been handled great.
Yeah, it's crazy to think this way, but I genuinely believe he looks more dominant now than he did during his entire great run, but his entire run with the Bloodline.
It's the not speaking.
It's the not speaking, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, and the not speaking, but also in the original Bloodline, he had so many people to do the dirty work for him.
Right.
He barely got physical on SmackDown. Never had a match on SmackDown. It was only PLE matches, really. The Usos would do his dirty work. Sami Zayn, Paul Heyman's talking for him. Whatever it may be. Solo Sikoa, of course, the enforcer. And now he's taking business into his own hands. Like you said, not speaking, that shows how serious he is, and absolutely demolishing this new Bloodline. It does feel weird not having Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, anybody with him. And that's where I still feel like this might be a little out of order. How do you bring Paul Heyman back into the fold? Roman Reigns has already looked so dominant. I feel like it would make more sense if Roman was outnumbered to the point where he was getting beat down on SmackDown 3-4-on-1, where it's like, okay, Roman, you're still Roman, but you need help. He doesn't look like he needs any help.
No, and I almost think this is actually kind of at least it seems like to me, it's a mild character reset. Yeah. We're not going full on here. He's not coming out in different gear. It's basically the Roman Reigns we saw 4 months ago, but the difference is, we talked about him not speaking much. Well, eventually we'll get that.
Yes.
Roman Reigns as champion had the chuckling, the smirk, kind of the swagger because he was very like overconfident. This is just Roman Reigns on a mission. He doesn't need Paul Heyman to be his advocate. There's nothing to advocate for. He's advocating for himself.
Right.
We don't need to have the Usos there, Sami Zayn, anybody right now, because this is Roman basically making a point against Solo. Eventually, all that will happen. Right. I think, though, that this is just kind of like a mild reset for the character.
Yeah, you say mild reset. The OTC thing, man, did that code through the crowd quickly.
Yeah.
Like
they took to that chant.
Yeah, like nothing.
Yeah,
like right away. I almost thought and I know everyone kind of speculates at this. Are they piping this in? And then whenever you think that, you look in the crowd to see are they actually? Yeah. Now I'm like, no, that's the crowd.
It's not even just that. You can kind of, because there's not when something's piped in, you get this very kind of formulaic sound to it. It's like the Goldberg chants where it's like, okay, I know that's not all the crowd. This was very uneven. Some of the crowd started, then some of the crowd started taking to it, and then it just became a thing. And I'm like, okay, that's natural
Yeah.
The crowd is just stoked to see him back.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he's looking as dominant as he ever has. And you mentioned no title involved, no interaction with Cody. I know we talked about that last week a lot on the show when it comes to, is Cody Rhodes still involved in the Bloodline story? Is there another title match? Cody and Roman kind of exchanged a little 3, at the end of SummerSlam, kind of, maybe a third match could be coming at some point. So where do you go with this Bloodline story? When do we get Roman versus Solo Sikoa? When do other family members get involved? Do you have The Rock? Do you have Cody Rhodes? How do you, for I guess the rest of 2024, how would you play out this Bloodline story?
I mean, we could have Roman and Solo at Berlin.
Yeah.
Because we saw Solo try to make his case to get another world title shot. Cody effectively shut that down. Like, what the hell are you talking about, dude?
Yes.
Like, there's no reason for you to even be out here speaking to me right now.
Right. Why are you here?
Yeah, what do you want?
What?
Didn't I beat you? Like,
I was doing something. What are you, rude?
Excuse me, what? Yeah, no. And again, it wouldn't make any sense. And I don't think really a lot of people want to see that. You could go that route with that match. I don't know why you would really wait for that.
Yeah.
Because you can do that match and then build on it, like you said, to get The Rock involved eventually. The Usos, that can all come down the line. Right now, that's the match that you have to get. That match one-on-one will kickstart everything else.
Yeah, I think Roman Solo can definitely happen one-on-one. I think that's a Bash in Berlin match. From there is one of those things where I think every PLE, as overbooked as this is going to sound right now, you have someone else get involved, right?
Right.
I think Solo recruits one more member of his bloodline to help him against Roman. That will then trigger Roman needing some help, and then you would assume maybe we get at least Jimmy Uso back, maybe Jay and Sammy for Bad Blood, right? I know everyone says Jay and Sammy's on Raw. Well, Randy Orton just jumped the wrong guy world title shot.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is necessarily in the way.
I mean, this could lead you to Survivor Series too, because we have, and a lot of other fans online and wherever have been saying a lot of this Bloodline Civil War for Survivor Series, War Games, right?
Yes.
Roman right now has been very dominant in the sense of he doesn't need any help. If Solo enlists somebody else and Roman just keeps hitting his head against the wall, getting beat down, you could have a thing where it's Jimmy that comes back and says, look, the history being whatever it is, I can't let you do this alone.
Right.
Then you build on that with Jay, maybe Sammy, and it's like, hey, we're not going to let you walk alone in this. You know what I mean? Just everything be bygones. We can't sit here and let you just face all this by yourself.
Everyone's fantasy booking that War Games match for Survivor Series. A lot of people put The Rock in that match, potentially on Solo's side against Roman. Do you have The Rock in War Games? Or does Solo lead that team in War Games?
I almost want Solo to lead it, but I also think The Rock's involvement could be either we get Rock and Cody doing their thing, or we have The Rock have some sort of influence on that match where it's basically a stipulation that he puts that's on Roman.
Yeah.
Something in the effect of if your team loses, you don't get a world title shot as long as I'm in charge here or
Sure.
whatever, which could lead to their own personal feud. Yeah. But I think The Rock's influence should be somewhere. He should be a discussion piece in that War Games match.
I think Rock is the reason why Team Solo wins. I think that can start. I don't think Rock's in the match. I don't think Rock would do a War Games match.
I don't think Rock needs to do a War
I don't think he
Games
needs
match.
to.
No.
I don't think he would want to.
He could. You think would you be opposed to him showing up having some physical influence in the match where he shows up, orders the referees or whatever to unlock the cage to allow something to happen?
Yeah.
Like starts threatening people's jobs.
I think you do one of those things where somehow the cage door gets open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Rock,
he pays off a ref to just unlock it.
Which that's a Rock thing to do. Final boss, right?
Final boss.
You know, Rock gets involved, attacks Roman, costs Roman that match, and that can then start off both Rock Roman and then potentially Cody Rock, right? Yeah. I think you could do a Cody Rock thing at Royal Rumble. And I think at that point, that could go either way.
Yeah.
Cody and Rock.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're talking about a 9-month reign for Cody. I don't think anyone will be upset if Cody lost the title there at that point.
And plus, Cody, he can get it back eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have Cody drop the title potentially to Rock if you want a title involved for Rock Roman.
You don't need it, but I wouldn't.
You don't
be
need
pissed.
it,
Yeah.
but I think if Roman's back full time, I wouldn't hate Roman getting his title back against Rock at WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't. I mean, it would make more sense than having Cody Roman.
Correct. I don't think Rock Roman needs a title. I'm just saying I wouldn't hate it if they went that path. They could easily go that route with Rock Roman at WrestleMania without a title and keep that title on Cody.
But it would actually be more effective too for the tribal chief to beat the final boss for the title. Plus, that opens up, as a side note,
Yes.
it opens up your possibility of Cody Rhodes versus John Cena.
And Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, because that final 2025 run, whenever we get Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, that's a feud that would need a title.
I believe, yes, definitely.
Even though the history is there, why would Orton be going after Cody other than
I'm very
being a
surprised
champion?
they're not doing that now, but I guess they have their reasons worked out.
And that's what we said, not to jump back into that, but you got 4 months basically where Cody can be away from the Bloodline. I wouldn't have Cody and the Bloodline cross paths again until the new year.
Right. That's kind of why I like the direction, the kind of the shift they made on
Yes.
SmackDown. It gives Cody a reason to not be involved.
Right.
At least for a little bit.
Well, let's get to that. Cody Rhodes, like you mentioned, Solo Sikoa mentioned wanting a rematch. Cody's like, for what?
What the fuck?
You're not Roman Reigns. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes telling Kevin Owens he wants to give him a shot at Bash in Berlin. Kevin Owens originally was like, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. Nick Aldis then brings up Roman Reigns getting a title shot, and that sends Kevin Owens off the deep end of like, why the hell does he get a title shot?
Yeah.
And that convinces Kevin Owens to take the match. So Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Bash from Berlin for the world title. How do you feel about this change of pace for the title picture?
I mean, it's something fresh. It's something new. It's an opponent Cody hasn't had, and that's always a good thing when the champion has someone they haven't faced for the title. It can be the kickoff to a heel turn for KO too.
Yeah. No, as much as I still feel like we should be doing Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes right now, I love this. And I love it for the reasons that we kind of mentioned when we were talking about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes last week, and that is when the title went to Cody, we thought, okay, this is the perfect time for other people to get involved in the title picture, to have different matchups for the title picture that doesn't involve the Bloodline. That's exactly what this is. Kevin Owens, of course, is a big star. I'm not a fan of Kevin Owens not wanting the title match. I think we're going a little too babyface with him here. That's not Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens don't give a damn about, and Kevin Owens, face or heel, has never given a damn about who else deserves what. He always believes he's the guy. He always believes he deserves to be in that title picture. How many times has he been robbed of that title? Yes, from Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, but it's still that title.
Right.
Why would Kevin Owens think, no, not me?
No,
You're painting him in a light that he has never been painted in before.
Do not be acting like Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes.
If you're going to use the Stone Cold Stunner.
And that's my thing.
Okay.
He's had the comparison to Stone Cold. Of
Right.
course, the main event was Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Would Stone Cold ever say, I don't deserve it. Don't give it to me. Give it to another guy. Oh, go in the locker room and see who else does.
Oh, hell no.
That's
Stone
my point.
Cold wouldn't say that.
That's my point. So Kevin Owens, I get it for the story, and I like the little angle of like I found it funny when he heard Roman would get a title shot. He's like,
oh, wait a minute. No.
I'll take it then. If you're just going to hand it out.
We're just handing out title shots.
Okay, no, so I agree.
I mean, KO's essentially been part of like Cody's security squad, you know, for the best, leading into Mania, post Mania, post Mania anyway. I mean, why? I kind of feel like he's worked to earn that.
Yeah, this is the best case scenario after Randy Orton went over to Raw.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If Randy Orton was still on SmackDown, I'd be probably crying at like, hey, we're dragging out this Orton thing a little too much.
Well, because I would wonder I wonder now if we're ever going to get to it.
Right.
Because I don't know if this KO thing's going to be one and done, and then it's like, all right, we're kind of getting into the fall here.
Well, and it's,
like Survivor. Are you guys? What are you going to do for Survivor Series? Okay, now we're getting to the Royal Rumble. What's happening?
Right.
And that's my concern. It's like, well, we haven't pulled the trigger on the Orton thing yet. It's like, okay, what are we doing?
I mean, as the deeper we get into 2024, the John Cena thing with Cody kind of makes sense. But if we're doing Roman Rock, title or not, at WrestleMania, that tells me it's probably Cody Orton or Cody Cena.
Yeah, because the John Cena thing, and this is a side note, but. If 2025 is his last year, that's essentially, it will be his last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So there's the discussion of, is Cody his last opponent? And if not, who, I personally think it should be Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different discussion.
I mean, keep in mind,
we'll discuss it more when we get to that point.
Yeah, and John Cena's going the entire year. Yes, it's his final WrestleMania,
he's
but
going
it's not his last match.
Yeah, but it's his last WrestleMania match.
Right.
It's not his last match of the year.
What if Cena wins the Royal Rumble and gets a title shot against
I was
Cody?
thinking about that on the way over here to do the show. And I was like, what if John Cena wins? Because when he's already proclaimed that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble,
yes,
barring everything, and I'm like, what if he wins?
And
then part of me was like, I actually would be happy if he did. I
would be happy.
I kind of want him to win. I wouldn't be mad.
I don't think there's much that John Cena could do in 2025 that I'm not going to be happy with. Like whether it's a heel turn, babyface, title run or not.
I guess winning the Rumble is like I wouldn't hate it. But he doesn't need to do that.
No, I'm saying it now in August. Like CM Punk needs to win the Royal Rumble in Indy. I think
that title. Is that your early prediction?
Early prediction. I know Seth is out with an injury right now, which sounds a little legit after what Bronson Reed did to him. But I think that title ends up back on Seth by WrestleMania. Punk wins the Rumble, and that'll set up Punk and Seth one-on-one. If Seth is definitely out, we're probably focusing on Punk and Drew for a minute. Forget a triple threat, forget any of that. If Seth's actually out.
There's still a lot of gas in that tank.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot
left. Swinging back to Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, by the way. Kevin Owens, you mentioned potential heel turn. Would you go that route in this story at any point? Kevin Owens going back heel?
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense because I don't expect him to win the title.
Mm-hmm.
And following that, I don't expect, again, we spoke, this is not KO. It's not his character to be like, oh, well, guys, I lost. Well, good match.
Yes.
No, that's not. We'll get that, and then it's going to be followed by the heel turn in the ring,
Well, I mean, I keep in mind the next PLE after Bash in Berlin is called Bad Blood, and I know, I'm not to be too obvious or looking too deep into that name, but I feel like Triple H is going to put a lot of thought into the storylines going into that PLE. In a sense of we want whatever feuds and whatever matches are on that card to be red hot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So the Bloodline is going to be involved somehow. Drew and Punk are probably going to be involved. We need to give Cody a story that fits a Bad Blood persona.
Yeah.
What else to do that than Kevin Owens turning heel on him after the match at Bash in Berlin to set up a rematch at Bad Blood?
Yeah. And it has to be something good because I'm assuming if they're not, I'm assuming they're going to do a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
As of right now, as of this recording, I'm assuming it's going to be Punk and Drew because it's the one that makes the most sense to put them in a cell. You never know. We have at least one other that could go with Roman and Solo.
Yeah.
But I still think it's going to be Punk and Drew.
I think it does, and I think we only need one Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
let's not do the old Hell in a Cell pay-per-views when we used to put 4 of them on the show, a tag title one, a women's title one.
Just completely waters down the effect of the match.
Yep. So that's where I was like, okay. But no, I think a Kevin Owens heel turn, when I say Bad Blood, I just mean it doesn't need to be a stipulation match, a Hell in a Cell match, but just, man, these two hate each other right now. Put them on the Bad Blood card, right? And that would set up Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes to kind of go that route. A heel turn at least would do that. Let's get to a few more things when it comes to SmackDown that we saw. Santos Escobar getting a shot at LA Knight's U.S. title. You like this route?
I do. I think it's a good first opponent. Santos kind of been just kind of in obscurity for a minute.
Yeah.
We got it again, talking about resets, refresh, new champion, new crop of opponents. I think Santos is great. Yeah. Great choice.
I like Santos. One thing for me is, and I appreciate the storytelling that Triple H does, but sometimes he kind of puts a little too much into stories. And I mean that in the sense of Santos has already been defeated twice by LA Knight. Why put him in the title picture? Andrade has done nothing but win on SmackDown. I thought he would be a good first opponent. Carmelo Hayes cost him that match. Carmelo Hayes has done nothing but lose since coming to the main roster.
This is true.
You know what I mean? So I feel like the obvious choice, at least in trajectory, was, okay, Santos has already lost to LA Knight. Andrade keeps winning. Let's put the two, LA Knight and then the hottest, non-champion on SmackDown right now in terms of win-loss. Yeah. Let's put him in the title picture. I would have won Andrade here. I don't hate the match. It's a decent first opponent, first story, but I would have given it to Andrade here.
I think it's because LA Knight does really well going the verbal spats, the jarring back and forth, the promos. LA Knight's going to flourish against a group, or a faction, as opposed to just one-on-one with one person all the time.
Man, there's a picture of LA Knight on the turnbuckle with the U.S. title. And I know the comparisons, but it genuinely, and if you haven't seen it, I'll show you after the show. It genuinely looks like the combination of The Rock and Austin, the way his arms are up, just like Austin used to.
LA Knight is a combination of The Rock and
but
Austin.
He looks like the way his arms are up, but then the glasses and everything gives you The Rock feel. It looks like if Rock and Austin had a championship baby.
He's a megastar.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Tag title, #1 contenders, DIY or Street Profits. Who do you want to see get that shot?
Oh my! See, I'm torn here. I feel like DIY really, they need to be the champions, right?
Yeah.
But I really, really need, again, talking about refresh and restarts. Street Profits need to find some kind of place here again.
Yeah. Especially after what happened to Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that story kind of going away. Shout out to BFAB still being there.
So the answer to your question, Street Profits.
Yeah, I would give it to Street Profits here. I think the story, the match. I'm more intrigued with the Street Profits Bloodline thing, though they already have a feud going, right? DIY, I'm a huge fan of theirs, but I don't know that I just redo that match. The one thing that makes me hesitant about putting the Street Profits in there is I do think the Bloodline is hanging out of the tag titles until the Usos are back together. And I don't know if I want the Profits getting involved in another tag title situation where they're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The match will be great. I don't know if I want to go there. Speaking of Lashley, by the way, Lashley mentioned in an interview recently that he had no connection with Triple H. He said Hunter had his guys. I wasn't one of them. You believe that? I mean, it feels like it kind of that was kind of seen on TV.
I was about to say that. I believe it. And to your point, yes, it was seen a lot on TV. At least you felt that on TV, because Lashley is a guy who, in his last couple of years, didn't really seem to have any direction.
Right.
There was no. It was like we as fans were watching it. We're like, "There's so much you could do with this guy."
Right.
But it's like there was like he was a heel, he's a face, he's not. He's kind of this, he's kind of that, and it was just It never felt like he wanted to pull the trigger on anything Lashley was doing. Whether single to when a singles run to when he had the
went
Profits,
to Profits, it's like, okay, this looks great, do something with it. He never did. You know what I mean? I will say I feel horrible for our producer Will, because we've gone off track about 4 different times. He's gonna be looking at our show sheet like, what the hell are they talking about?
Like,
they weren't supposed
none
to.
of this is on the sheet.
What is going on here? Jesus. Okay. One thing that is on the sheet: Undertaker on Logan Paul's podcast mentioning wanting to have one more match in the WWE. How do you feel about that?
No.
Don't.
No, I look. I am a man of a certain age, so I grew up. I was there as a little kid when Undertaker was first in the company, and I've been a fan watching him ever since. But no,
I agree.
I need to see. It's to the level. Well, maybe not quite the level, but it's getting pretty much to the level of where I don't need to see Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan in the ring ever again either.
Right.
Undertaker's. He's kind of at that point.
What I appreciate about what John Cena is doing is that John Cena is at the age where it's like, okay, he knows in about 2 years he's going to be there too.
He's that guy.
So let me call one last final run while I can still kind of go.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that guy that's putting on a match because of my name when my body can't live up to what my name is.
And since we're saying that, can we just do a shout out to Stone Cold Steve Austin? Because talk about someone with self-awareness.
Yes.
Because you look at Steve Austin right now, and you're like, dude, you could totally get in the ring.
Yep.
And he's just like, yeah, but I kind of want to be able to walk around still.
For sure.
At my age, so no.
I mean,
I gave you your WrestleMania match in Texas. Leave me alone.
And that's my thing. And as great as Austin's career was, remember how early that ended. Like
people don't really stop. People who don't who didn't go through it didn't stop to think that wasn't a long. We're not talking John Cena's had the longest modern day run.
Correct.
Austin was like what? 97 to 02?
At least full time.
Yeah.
Full time was 02.
Yeah. So it's a handful of years.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Undertaker went 30 great years full time. Bro, you're good.
There is no one's going to top that for Undertaker. No
you're
one's
doing
topping
great.
that legacy.
Just do your podcast, do your One Dead Man show.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Love it.
You come on this show.
Come
on this show, roll around the ring and tell this guy over here.
Yeah.
Who vehemently disagrees that you should be in the...
Let's remember the start of this conversation was you just saying no. So
I said no because I care.
Because I care.
Because I care.
That's cute. Let's get into AEW, some topics there before we get out of here. How do you feel about MJF's American character? Do you feel like this helps his story with Will Ospreay?
I feel like it's obnoxiously nationalistic, and we are in an election season.
Yes.
I think they're playing off that. And plus, it just makes him even better of a heel. Yeah. I don't mind it. It's stupid, but it works.
It is. It is very timely in the sense of, of course, when it comes to the political side of things, the Olympics,
yes.
You know what I mean? So it's that makes a lot of sense. The one thing I will say, it feels like MJF is going backwards on the mic. Right, or at least staying still. He feels.
I thought you meant backwards in time because he had the Lex Luger American Express tights.
Yeah, I mean that too.
The Lex Express.
But no, it feels like MJF is just the typical promos on the mic when it comes to the backhanded. Just I'm gonna say the most craziest thing to get a pop, and it's okay, when you burst on the scene doing that as a young kid, okay, we get it. But now that you've been at the top of your game, like he has been for years now. I would hope to see some progression and some evolution in his promos. Yeah. And it feels like we got that in 2023. And since he's been back and gone back heel, he's going right back to just I'm just going to say the most insulting, craziest thing to get a pop. He's talking about Vince McMahon's, stuff on social media just to be, edgy. And it's like, okay.
I mean, it makes your ears perk up.
Sure.
So it's effective in that sense. But yeah, it's doing the whole like late 90s Howard Stern shock jock stuff in the modern day. And it's like, dude, we've seen it. It's the kid in class when you were younger that like found out a new bad word and just kept using it over and over. And it's like, all right, we get it. It's your thing you do, but we kind of need to see a little bit more. And we saw you do a little bit more, but now you're kind of going back to the simplistic stuff.
And that's the thing, where when he first came on the scene
you're
doing
hanging
that,
fruiting it here.
Yes, and that is the definition of MJF at this point. He got away from it kind of when he went babyface or when he was in between. Yeah. And I say this because we know he is a great promo. He is great on the mic. Yeah. So it's like when you came on as a 20-year-old kid saying these low-hanging fruit things, it's like, okay, yeah, what do you expect? You're 5 years into it now at this point, at least on a big level. Do something else, man. Like, you can talk.
Get in the ring with Undertaker. There you go. Undertaker and MJF.
Undertaker and MJF.
That is... Now, Undertaker and MJF could be a match sponsored by WWE and AEW in a TNA venue. Oh, shit. With Joe Hendry as a referee.
With Joe Hendry as a... Undertaker...
I have solved the world's problems with this one match proposal.
Undertaker is the American badass, so... Hey.
I see what you did there.
Mercedes Moné, of course, building up her match with Britt Baker, bringing up Baker's suspension in a promo. How do you feel about them using this whole thing for the storyline?
Sure. It's real life, and then, suspensions that people could make and then be overturned by two other authority figures. Yep. What the hell are we doing with all these authority figures in AEW?
That are never seen,
we got, like, Lil Pierce and Tony Khan and the Bucks. And the Bucks are like, no, you can't have ice cream before you go to bed. And then Little Pierce is like, maybe you can have like a Frosty from Wendy's. And then like Tony Khan's like, no, you're going to have the ice cream and the Frosty from Wendy's because I said so. And I'm like, okay, I don't even want it anymore.
What I do appreciate is that how quick Tony Khan somehow makes decisions for matches, and then the graphics are already made. Like, they'll announce a match and the graphic for the match is on the screen about 3 seconds later, and I'm not exaggerating. 3 seconds later,
you have in production, you have to have these things ready to go, just in case. You never know. You never know.
It's very swift.
Does Tony Khan just like randomly like pick up his phone? Holy shit, this happened! Hold on, no, we're not doing that.
Gosh.
And then just
he's ready to go. Tony Khan made it
Shivani,
official.
Tell him I said this. Okay.
On it, like.
Waiting for Tony Schiavone to just get up one day in the announce booth in the Bucks of the ring. Got a message from Tony Khan. He says, "Go fuck yourself."
It's like Michael Cole.
Why not?
It's like Michael Cole, the anonymous GM.
We're a step. That's basically what this is.
We're getting close.
I love it.
We're getting close. I don't know that I love Mercedes using the Brit suspension, only because I don't know that I want to put more attention on that. Because again, that's more backstage BS.
What's worse, the CM Punk thing?
It's the CM Punk thing is worse. But it's just one of the...
It's like less offensive. It highlights the dumb.
But that's my thing. And because the CM Punk thing has happened and everything else that has happened in AEW, not to mention all the stars that we haven't seen about, the drama behind there and who's leaving the company and the amount of stars that have left the company, maybe don't highlight anything, even if it is to get an edgy storyline, at least for a little bit.
But that's I think that's the intent is like, we're going to let you on the end of the backstage, which I don't really need that anymore. That was kind of a thing. That was like kind of a Vince Russo move where it's like, we're going to give you all the insider stuff. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's for like this much of the audience.
Well, yeah. And it's also one of those things when 98% of your insider stuff is legitimate drama backstage because you don't know how to control your wrestlers.
Let me highlight to you why I'm a terrible boss. And I have no control of my company.
But we'll make a storyline out of it.
Yeah, right?
It's great. I will say, watching that promo, man, Mercedes Moné is nothing but the looks
she
right
is
now.
Presentation.
She is presentation.
And that will get you very far in wrestling. It'll get you very far in life.
Because the promos are rough to watch.
And then Britt just comes in and just like exclamation points that, like, this is why I'm better than you.
Yeah.
With a promo.
For sure. From home, from satellite,
from my house.
Yep. Not even in the arena, and I'm out promoting you right now. Claudio Castongoli getting a shot at Kazuchika Okada's title at All In. Are you a fan of this match?
Because it's Okada, yes.
Sure.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Either way, otherwise I wouldn't be too hyped about it.
Yeah.
But I like Okada. So
I like Okada, and I know Claudio is crazy talented, and I know this is a thing that has been brought up a lot from his WWE days.
It's because he's Swiss, damn it.
You know, and it's just like, I don't see it. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, your personality and the lack thereof takes away from how dominant you are in the ring. And the fact that he's gone to AEW and they've kind of, you know, just like AEW does, kind of like lets them do whatever they want. He attempts to be charismatic or funny in the ring, and it comes off as crazy awkward. And it completely takes away from how dominant he is actually looking, because he is a crazy physical athletic specimen.
Yes.
But then he tries to be funny or cut a promo.
What are the Meltzer ratings? Because if the learning tree has taught us anything.
By the way.
You got to shout out those Meltzer ratings.
Shout out to Jericho giving that Dave Meltzer shout out. The match will be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
There's better options than Claudio, but like you mentioned, Okada is Okada. It's fine. Speaking of All In, Casino Gauntlet Match announced for a world title shot. Are there any names that you'd like to see win
Shane
this?
McMahon. Or Darby Allin. Why not?
Wait.
No, you know, okay, but seriously though.
He gets a second title shot?
Wait, just in case the first one doesn't work out, here's your backup, your insurance policy. This new iteration of repackage and reset for characters is Hangman Page.
Yeah.
This crazed individual who's like trying to murder Jeff Jarrett and other people, like, it's just, why not, dude? I like that. I like that he's kind of loosely affiliated with the elites or whatever, but go that route.
I like it. It's very funny for me that Adam Page is just walking around perpetually pissed off, ready to fight anyone he walks by and backstage.
Seriously, that's what
it's awesome. No, I wouldn't hate that. You could tell they want one more Page Swerve match. Whether we want it or not, you could tell that they want it, right? They keep bringing it up. They keep going back to it. So I think Adam Page is a good option. This could be a good route for Ricochet to show up.
Oh, yeah.
At Wembley, right? To be a surprise participant. I don't know if he wins it, but he might if he does show up. But it'd be a nice debut for sure.
Bobby Lashley shows up.
That's another good route. One thing I'll say, though, this match made me realize, man, being a champion means nothing in AEW.
You're just now learning this?
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just being highlighted so heavy right now, because we got about 5 different people with number 1 contenders shots right now. Yeah. Everybody seems to be holding a title, right? Somewhere. Mercedes got 2. Willow's got something. You know, everyone's got a trios tag.
Which I completely forgot about.
Yep, ROH. Everyone's got a title. Like, being a champion and having a shot at the championship means absolutely nothing in AEW. Yeah. And the fact that we got about 4, and by the way, Swerve's going to Collision for an Eliminator World title match. So, like, we're just trying to give out title shots left and right here.
Yeah, it's very disjointed. So anyway, Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon. Here comes the money, baby. Here we go. Trios Gold. Who of the 3 involved in the picture would you like to see hold the gold at least long term? Christians, Patriarchy, Bullet Club Gold, or House of Black?
Patriarchy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
we're going to get a three-way between all these. That's where we're going with this.
We should.
I think that's what's going to happen here. I know we have Christian being the ref coming up, but I think we're going to get a three-way here with this. I think there's just, again, Christian's whole storyline with the Patriarchy has just been on fire for as long as it's been going.
Yes.
The fact that Killswitch is even allowed to hold his championship, like, that's a whole other factor of it that I love. I want them to hold on to it. There's a whole bunch of like story that can come from that.
I agree. I think the story tells you Christian's Patriarchy. The fact that Jay White's hurt probably hurts Bullet Club Gold a little bit. Yeah. As much as I appreciate how entertaining the other 3 are right now.
Juice Robinson stepped up.
I was going to say, and I said the other 3 very disrespectfully. Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn,
names, damn it, okay? Juice Robinson, come on this show.
Yeah, there you go.
And let this man know what your name
is. I will say, story-wise, yes, Christian, but my heart would want to see House of Black. I mean, we just had Malachi Black, let's not forget, in a cage match with Adam Copeland at a pay-per-view. Yeah. Like, these guys were getting booked very seriously. I wouldn't hate it having the titles back on them, but the story tells you keep it with Christian.
I'm exactly how I feel. I wouldn't hate it either. I just think the story is what matters. Right.
And lastly, Sammy Guevara showed back up on TV, ROH thing. He wants to team with and earn the respect of Dustin Rhodes. How awkward is this at all? And has Sammy's time kind of passed him, do you think? At least in terms of being a top guy in AEW?
I see Sammy. I was about to say Sami Zayn. Him too.
Yeah, that guy.
To a lesser extent.
Yeah.
Sammy
Until
Guevara.
the bloodline comes back.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, Sammy Guevara, I don't care. I'm more intrigued in whatever Dustin Rhodes is doing.
Yeah.
In comparison.
Shout out to Dustin Rhodes.
He's so like for a dude his age.
Yes.
Who's like worked with basically everybody who's everybody in this business for the last like 30 plus years.
Yep.
Right? It's just he's consistently just a solid, as they say in the wrestling business, a good hand.
Yes.
He's just a solid guy. You can rely on him to put on a decent match for you.
Yes.
If someone's injured, I don't know, get Dustin in there.
Yeah. And he does, and that's the thing. We say that a lot at his age, he's been doing it for so long, whatever. No one says that enough about Dustin Rhodes.
And again, with age, now physical in what they do in wrestling, it's like the physicality is going to wear you down, but the age and experience will let you put on a good match because you know how to call it in the ring.
Right. And I know Billy Gunn's another guy that they bring up, and he looks great, but like when it comes to actually executing a match at a high level still or a promo, Dustin Rhodes, man, that dude has not lost a step, and I genuinely mean that. Again, I know we say that about a lot of people. Yeah. I don't think that fits better for anyone in wrestling anywhere in the world more than it does for Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah. Just because he's physically taking care of himself. I mean, there was that whole, 97, 98, and going into 2000s, he was like a bigger guy.
Yes.
He slimmed down a lot. Now you can tell he's really healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, that's the longevity of it. So to answer your question, I don't care what Sammy Guevara is doing.
That being said, Sammy Guevara is showing up with his, somewhat man bun.
Even worse.
Even worse.
The only man bun allowed in wrestling is Roman Reigns, okay?
Yep.
That's the only one I will accept.
I can agree with that. I can see that. No Sami Zayn? Second time he's been brought up in this segment. He's fine. Him and his flannel.
Oh, God. The only flannel I will allow in wrestling is Mick Foley.
There you go.
Now and forever, damn it.
There you go. No, Sammy Guevara, I think, it's just, his time has passed. As they tried as a face, they tried as a heel, they put him with Jericho, they put him against Jericho, and that's like the go-to for Tony Khan.
He has to join the learning tree now.
Like that's the go-to for Tony Khan. It's like, hey, we want to get someone over, put him with Jericho, and then put him against Jericho, and that still didn't work, right? Yeah. And of course, behind-the-scenes stuff and out-of-the-ring stuff kind of plays against him, and that's his own fault. But yeah, I think the time has passed of Sammy Guevara being interesting. I really do.
That Jericho formula is still in effect because we just saw Hook.
Yep. Just eye patch and all.
The whole thing, just run it back with.
Do we do Hook Jericho at All In? Do you want Samoa Joe involved? I want a triple threat. I know Joe and Hook are a team, but I'd like a triple threat.
Wasn't Joe like left for dead last time?
He was. He was like driven through a wall with a tractor. It's crazy.
Have him just come out of the gravel.
Just one hand, taker it.
Like from across the world.
Yep.
And just make it to the ring somehow. Yeah, why not?
All the way in London.
All the way. We'll figure it out.
We'll get them there.
We'll figure out teleportation by that time. It's okay.
Roar Around the Ring is available every week. Find us on YouTube at Roar Around the Ring. He's at Dude Daryl Taylor. I'm Justin Valentine. Talk to you guys very soon.